All right, so now we're going to forge ahead on the second part, 9.2, which is based pretty heavily on the page 283, which I think actually, I don't know. Let me just have a quick peek for a second and see if I can find the requisite slide for that too, because that's kind of important. Yeah, so yeah, I know this is exciting to watch as it is to do, but I think no, it must have split over multiple slides, but that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We don't really need to know. It's basically page 283. But what we're going to do is we're going to basically take that. We're going to probably do this in two parts too. We're going to do the phone number first. Sorry, not the phone number, the name first, and then we'll do the phone number. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go into the properties of this thing, and I'm going to change it to being the proper name, which is basically Grant R. Spencer. So sorry, Joel, but you made enough money off of this. You don't need that anymore. So there's Grant R. Spencer. So that's me. Awesome. Next thing we're going to do, though, is go into how could we parse this so we can get a pop-up showing up with basically the three names all independently. So that's what we're going to do. This used to be a lot harder than it is now. We're going to do your classic thing with the message. So we're going to make a string, which I'm going to call message. All right, and it's going to be currently assigned nothing. And we're going to also do the classic thing with a message pop-up. So message box, and it's going to be show. And we're going to say, show me the message. And I'll just anticipate the fact that this will be parsed name. Okay, so, oh my God, I don't know, man. My fingers, what's going on? All right, there it is, to show. So if I go run, at the very, I'm going to see two things that are going to be different. My name will be the default. And when I go parse, it's going to say parsed name, and we're good to go. All right. Yeah, of course, there's nothing in the message. All right, so how in the world do we get that name that is currently sitting inside of my text field to be parsed so it's Grant R. Spencer? Again, this is a wonderful moment where we see a confluence of a bunch of different technologies that we've already kind of learned. So we already know of a construct that can actually handle multiple values, a composite data type, and the composite data type, I would say, is an array for this one. So we know that we actually have an array, and I can have an array of names, right? But the question is, what am I going to put in that array of names? So first of all, I do need to capture the actual name. So it's going to be string, full name is assigned, and remember our beautiful text boxes here. This is the more the .NET stuff. Text.fullname.text. That will actually get me the name I'm looking for, not test, but text. Okay, so now it's a string. I'm not sure if we couldn't have just done what we're about to do on that, because that should be a string too. But anyway, so here I'm going to go and I'm going to use full name, which is a string. But watch what happens when I go hit the period. There's a bunch of different methods that pop up. One of them is split. So I can go split. And I'm going to split it on space. That's a single character now. It's one of the rare moments I've typed the single quote in this language and actually meant it. So I'm looking for a single space. This will create me a nice array of names. Now, I tell you what I'd like to do. I'm going to see if the debugging part is going to work great here. Let's take that off. So let's go. And I'm going to go parse. And so right now, here's message. Message is null, which basically means I don't know. We're going to go and step through it. Step. And now it's just about to do the full name. So see how there's text full name. Oh, I see what it is. It's not a string. That's why. It's one of these things. So I think what's happening here is that it's going to get converted to a string when it goes to full name. So there's Grant Spencer right there. He's a string and he's a full name. And now we're just about to hit this dude. This dude's going to be called names. Names has currently got nothing in it, but it is an array. When I push the go button, the names is now 3 elements. Doesn't say what the elements are, but we know that 3 elements have been captured in there, just like Ghostbusters here. All right, so we got some data sitting inside of that. So I'm going to go and bail out. All right, good. So that worked like a charm. So now I basically got an array. At this point, I can basically start splitting it out into different variables, right? So what I can say is I can say, hey, I would like the first name. So I guess I'm going to create a bunch of strings. So I'll go string. First name is going to be assigned the name's first element. String middle will be the name's second element. And then string last, not a reserved word. These are horrible variable names, by the way. Names 2. All right. So that's, oh, it is, no, you're not mad. Okay, good deal. And now all I got to do is in my message, say that the message is assigned first concatenated with a new line plus, okay. Thank you. Are we good now? Are we friends? Okay. Plus middle concatenated with a new line plus last. Good enough. Okay. So if I run this thing, right, we're okay. Okay, I'm going to run it. And the easiest one for me to debug, by the way, I'm going to go parse Grant R. Spencer. That is awesome. Great. Now, what happens if when I run this thing again, I go string handler, and what happens if I don't bother putting my middle initial in there? So if I don't bother putting my middle initial in there, what's going to happen? It blows up. And it blows up because of an index out of range exception. Here I'm asking for the second element, but only 2 went in there. Uh-oh, we have a problem. We can't just assume everybody got 3 names that they're going to put in there. So what we have to do is we have to add a little bit of conditioning to this, a little bit of condition control. So what I'm going to do with this is, first of all, I'm going to grab these variables. I'm going to put them up where I'm doing my basic declarations. And I'm going to basically at this point to say, hey, you know what? You guys are nothing. So they're all going to be nulls is what's going to happen here, right? Define once, define at the top. That's never done me wrong, that bit. And so now what I can do, oh, wow, I got rid of it though. Oh, well, I didn't mean to cut it, but it doesn't matter. It's dead easy code. So what we actually had was we had first was assigned the name's first element. Then we had middle, which was assigned the name's first element, second element, sorry. Then we had last, which was assigned the name's third element. That's what we had. So now at this point, I think we should be fine functionally. Let's just run it again and make sure it works. And it does. All right. So we only want that to be if it's 3. How do we know what the length of the names array is? Well, we know that because it's got an attribute or a function that tells us. I can basically say if this thing is equal to 3, then go ahead and do that processing. So if it's equal to 3, do that. And so now what's going to happen? Oh, it's going to be really pretty mad when I do the other bit. So that works just great. If I take out the Spencer or take out the R and I go again, now it's getting nothing, right? Because those variables were never defined. All right, or not defined, they weren't populated. So that's what happens if it's 3. if there's only two, so I can go else if. So if this is 2, so if it's 2, then I know I've got basically the first and the middle. The first and the last, the first and the last. Oh boy. And this guy is going to be like nothing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically assign that to spaces, even though it's kind of spaces up there or null. And I'm going to set this guy to 1. All right. So if I run it now, first of all, this works. And then if I take out the R, that works. Now, if I really don't want to see that at all, something that they don't actually do, because I can see why they're not doing it yet, but is I would maybe consider composing the message in each of these rather than having it down at the bottom and assuming it's there. But you know what? We'll get to that in a minute. By the way, do we have 1 if it's 1? So, okay, we do have 1 if it's 1. So I can say, if this is the case, I can say else if this is 1, then we only really care about the first name. Okay. So now to make the printing a little bit more dynamic, what we can do is we're assuming that no matter what, everyone's got a first name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to go message is definitely going to be assigned first name, tabbing it over. Now I need to somehow capitalize this. I don't think I can just do this. To initial cap first. I'm pretty sure it's going to be mad at me if I do that. Yes. Because it's saying, well, what are you actually trying to capitalize? I'm trying to capitalize this. It gets back to that whole this thing again. So I've tried. So first, I'm going to try and capitalize that. So am I right? What's wrong with you now? Oh, I don't have a plus. Right? Are we okay now? Are we good? Are we friends? We're not friends yet. How come we're not friends? What's wrong with you? Form 1 does not contain a 2 init cap or blah, blah, blah. All right. Initial cap. Right. First exists. First exists. What are you doing to me here? All right. 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 Huh. All right. Oh, yeah, no. There's a very trivial change from the solutions. It did go string name, right? Is assigned that, but that's not what's causing this thing to blow up. All right, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to do this. It's still going to be mad at me, right? So you're going to be mad at me because you're butted up right against that 2. I would have done something like this. So probably I'm on glue. If I went first dot, let's just take that out, for example. Let's go first. Okay. Stop the insanity right there. Stop it. First dot. And then is there an init cap going on here? No. So the only way to do that is with that whole this thing. Okay. So that's fine. That's cool. So if I go this dot, do you have an init cap here? By the way, you can always use your keys. So it's actually not init cap, it's 2 init. So it does not seem to have that. So why 2 Always the easy ones that are going to catch me here. To init. So there is no to init. All right. Well, what that means is that I got to pause the video and have a deeper look. All right. So here's what I worked out. I missed a line in the actual requirements where it actually said to capitalize the initial letter. So what's going on here is that they created their own method to init cap. So this is the solution file to this particular thing. And just, I may as well in a minute talk about the phone number, but before I do, you'll see that we kind of followed the same trajectory here. We took the full name out of the form. We split it up based on space. They also defined, one thing I did not do is I didn't add this question mark, which I believe just simply says that, hey, just so you know, this thing could be null, I think is what that says. Then we got this sort of this structure. They start at 1, they go to 2, and then they see if it's greater than 2, which I kind of said, I stuck it at 3. If it's 4, then you're just going to end up with the last name lost off. But this isn't really a production program anyway, it's a toy, so that's fine. Then they went ahead, and so here's where I got stuck, is I got stuck on the to init cap thing because I didn't catch the fact that the solution required you to write your own version to capitalize the first letter. One of the reasons, by the way, I didn't catch that is in most, and I bet you even in this language, there are usually functions that do that for you. I haven't had the code to capitalize the initial character function since I was in college, but that's fine. So then as we scroll on down, we'll see that in here they actually do have something where they pass in a string. If the string is greater than 1, what they do is they basically strip off the first. So here's your string. Do the substring starting at the beginning, going for 1, then that gets converted to uppercase, and then they go on further to basically say, okay, convert everything else to lowercase, and then throw the whole thing back, right? So this basically grabs the first character and then converts it to upper. This grabs everything else starting at the second character and converts it to lower. Makes a nice little string. It returns a string. Our processing comes back to here, and it gets capitalized. So you know what? Let's go ahead and just to make up for my folly, let's run this through some kind of debug. So we go and we do this, and oh, I lost me. Oh, repensor. All right, so let's do this. Let's go parse name. So paying attention down to here, we got the full name, which is got nothing in it. All right, and then most of this other stuff is crap, except the actual form has got Grant R. Spencer. So as soon as we start to step through it with our F11 key, now full name has now got Grant R. Spencer, which is awesome. We now hit the next bit. We're creating a bunch of empty variables. And so now it's going to be names. What's the length? Well, we kind of know right here that the length is 3. There's nothing obvious here to tell us that other than knowing how to read it. So there's 3. So we know that the processing isn't going to fall into line 31 or 34. It's going to go down likely, well, it's going to interrogate each of these, but it'll eventually hit 39. So if we go this, so now it's going to see, are you 2? Nope. Are you 3 or greater than 2? Yes. So then it starts going in, and then we're going to start to see some fancy assignments. We'll see first, currently it's got nothing, but now first has got Grant. Middle's currently got nothing, but now it's got R. And last name's got nothing, now it's got Spencer. All right, awesome. And it's only showing us these variables. Actually, I don't know. I don't know why it's only showing us those variables. I wonder if one of these filters or something is stopping us. But anyway, so now we go F11 again. So the string name, so the name, I should say, which currently has got nothing in it, is going to eventually get the first name in there. But before it does, it's going to go flying off to a init cap, and there's an init cap. So notice that S, what's coming in, is Grant. We hit F11. Is the length of Grant more than 0, which it is? So then it goes flying on in, and then so here it's going to have a thing called a variable called a init cap. Not the best name given the the method is called to init cap, but that's fine. So a variable called init cap, it's got nothing in it. Variable called init cap now has got a capital G in it. If you see the red here, whenever things change, they make them red. So then now it's going to look at lowercase letters, which currently has got nothing. Lowercase letters now has rant in it. And now S, which has got just grant in it. Oh, yeah, S has got grant in it, but you know, S is now going to basically look the same. It's going to look like grant. And so off it goes, and now it's coming back up. All right, so that's kind of how that worked. And so that's good enough. Good enough for that. All right, so sorry about that. What I missed was that they wanted us to do this processing of capitalizing the initial letter in its own standalone. May as well look at the phone numbers while we're at it. The phone number was basically, where are you? Phone number is basically meant to take that. Let's read it. What it says in the book. Add code to enter the phone number that when the user enters the phone number and clicks edit phone number, this code should remove all the special characters so that only the numbers are there, and then format the phone number with hyphens. All right, so we're going to basically pull out its current formatting and then reinsert formatting with hyphens instead. All right, so if I go edit phone number, oh, that's not me running it. Let's see it run first. Okay, so if I go edit phone number, boom, right, there's a message box which is going to have the entered phone number, the digits only, and then its reconfigured version. So if we look at this, so string phone number, start digits only, it's going to go through this character by character, which is pretty cool. Right, notice that you can go through a string character by character. A string almost, and this is what I kind of emphasize a bit in Python, is like a mini array of characters. So it's going to go character by character, and it's basically saying if you're not one of these things, don't do anything, because notice that there's nothing to do. If you're one of these things, don't do anything. Otherwise, digits only, which starts its life as an empty string, gets that character. So that's how these guys all flood in there. Now we know that we have a 10-character string. So now we go through here and we basically say, hey, can you put a hyphen in the third spot, which is for us is the fourth spot, and then can you put another hyphen in the seventh spot, which for us is the eighth spot. All right, and I'm about to run out of memory, so I should probably stop this. Cool, and that's how, and then it just basically throws it into a message box. All right, so that was an exciting sort of romp through 9.2.